And joining us to discuss the results of the Queensland election, Amanda Stoker, Senator for Queensland, Liberal Senator for Queensland, and of course, favourite here on Outsiders. How are you, Amanda?
Good morning, Rowan.
Not great, not a great morning. You're looking fine, though. Talk us through it.
It's a beautiful morning in Queensland, but yesterday's result was disappointing, and I don't think we can hide from that.
So the Annastacia Palaszczuk is back in for her third term, which is pretty extraordinary. There's been a lot of chat about this. Really says that the Liberal National so-called coalition isn't really working there, and I think Rita and James will hop in a second with their views on it. But it would appear that Deb Frecklington just failed to excite the voters, Amanda.
Look, she was operating in difficult circumstances when we've had 8 months of straight health coronavirus-related coverage in circumstances where she really didn't get much of a look in. I've got to cut her some slack in those circumstances, but it's true to say that electors yesterday gave a resounding tick of approval for the Palaszczuk Labor government's management of things and indicated that they want 4 more years of it.
Rita and James.
Go ahead, Rita.
Well, I'm interested in the fact that Greens weren't preference last. Do you think there should be as a matter of principle, that the Liberals should preference Labor or the Greens last, or should it just be seat by seat who's the biggest threat? Because that to me, I don't know, just seems a bit of a confused message.
Look, I don't think we should forget that until this election, we had a system where people could just vote one or for as many candidates in a preferential order as they wanted. It was yet another Labor fiddling of the books that changed it to compulsory preferential because they thought they would be the beneficiaries of Green preferences by doing so. It reflects a greater gerrymander that's been going on here in Queensland. They changed donation laws so that only people who are of their point of view can contribute to elections. They changed the signage laws so Labor and the unions can have up to 100 signs for their candidate. The Liberal National Party can have 6. They've changed the parliamentary processes so that sitting hours are short, so they don't cop as much scrutiny, so that estimates is a bit of a charade that's of no real use. They have done everything they can to make sure that the system is rigged in their favour. The preferential changes that they made are about making sure that they get an easier ride when it comes to elections, but it's also about making sure that people spend their time talking about preferences rather than about the substance of what a Labor government would do. Because if we look to regional Queensland and see how people have been hurting under native veg laws, if we look to Cairns and Townsville and the Whitsundays and the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast and see how the tourism industry has been suffering under their draconian health response that hasn't been balanced with the economic advice, we see people hurting really seriously. And if we see the uncertainty that people who depend upon the mining and the property industries face for the future of their jobs under this government, they've got reason to be concerned too. It's a massive distraction from largely Labor underperformance.